What's up, War Rapport family? We are back with another great edition of Building Rapport. Today we have a very special guest, former Auburn defensive tackle, Derrick Brown joins us. Derrick, thanks for joining us, man.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Well, Derrick, I want to kick the interview off asking you a little bit about going to Auburn and your decision to choose Auburn. You were highly recruited out of high school, could have gone anywhere in the country. You chose Auburn. What was so special about Auburn that made you choose them over all the other choices that you had?
When I got ready to come into school, Coach G was there, Coach Malzahn, and I just loved the school. It wasn't too far away from home, but it wasn't too close. So that was part of me making the decision, and I felt like that was the right decision at the time. Especially with my parents for guidance, and then it paid off for me in the end.
In the era of NIL, Derrick, would you do you think NIL today, as it is for athletes today, would have influenced your decision on where to go to school?
I don't know if it would have influenced it, but I mean, it would have been something nice to have. I think back, during the time of when like I was getting my scholarship check, and it was like Bitcoin and stuff like that was like a couple $100, a grand, a couple grand. I was like, boy, if I could get one of those NIL deals, I may be living a whole different situation right now.
Derrick, can you talk about the transition from high school into college? Just like what was the main thing that was a difference for you? I mean, you were a physical specimen coming out of high school, but what was the transition like from high school into playing in the SEC?
It was tough, man. When I first left high school, like I came in college like 334. Like by the end of that summer, like Coach Russell and his staff had me like 303. So I mean, it was that. But it was more so of a, once you got adjusted to the physical, it was more of the mental aspect of it, because college football is a grind. People don't understand that. You get to see. We always call it work behind the curtains. You always get to see the show, but it's a lot of work that goes on into that show.
Yeah.
You said so. You actually dropped weight.
Oh, like a lot of
it. Was that the intent for you to drop weight, or was it just you adjusting to the training?
I think it was my first time ever being in a system where we were just pick up and go, and it was every day. So I mean, it was, it was more so about, I look back on it now, like when I was going through it, I didn't really appreciate it. But I call my straight coach now from college, and I'm like, hey man, like asking them these different things, and it's one of those things that I understand at the time it was more so to get me mentally ready than it was ever about the physicality part of it.
So what's your playing weight right now in the league?
I put like 325.
Okay, so you're back up a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, I try to think to myself, I put it on the right way. So
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Derrick. So you chose Auburn over a myriad of other choices. You get to school, and you played on what a lot of fans believe is one of the best defenses that we've had over the last 20 years in that 2019 defense. Now, we know how the season turned out, but you went up against Heisman Trophy winner Joe Burrow and held LSU to their lowest point total output of the season in a year where they broke almost every offensive record in college football. What made that defense so special, and what made that unit so tough?
It was honestly, the guys from our class, our senior group. I feel like we took leadership of that defense, but I mean, it's easy to play when you're playing with people that feel like family. Like you feel like these are your blood brothers. It's easy to be able to go in and do your job. You don't have to worry about nobody having your back, because you don't have to think it. You know what's gonna happen. And whenever something bad happens, all right, whatever, we're gonna get it the next time. And I think that was just that was the attitude we had. Like we didn't care. Like it's just what it was, and we're gonna do our thing. Coach Steele and Coach G and our defense coach staff, they used to always tell us, we don't worry about what the offense does, because at the end of the day, that's, you control what you can control. So when we were on the field, on the sideline, man, bad things happens, turnover happens. I mean, it's like, being a firefighter. Like you're not supposed to ask all these questions. You're just supposed to show up and put the fire out. So I mean, that was our approach on it. No matter what situation we were in, whether it was the Iron Bowl or playing against Tulane, it was just, I don't even know, man. It was just, from that jump of the season, like we had goals and aspirations, and even when we realized that we would not be able to reach them, we were going to ball out every week regardless.
I like the fighter analogy. So, I mean, they don't keep the camera on the sideline the whole game. But was it a thing where you're walking over to the offense and being like, "We got it. Hold my beer. I'll be right back."
I know. I mean, I think it was more so, because when they're on the field and we get ready to go out there, we're on completely different sides of the sideline. So, I mean, it's just like, it's a turnover, first D up. So, I mean, we just run out there and, we compose ourselves and, whatever happens, happens. If balls turn over in the red zone, high possibility for a touchdown, but being able to stop teams in the red zone and you kicking field goals at the end of the day, the defense is winning that way.
Mm.
'Cause 3 is a lot better than 6. So,
Right, I feel that.
All right. So you talked about the brotherhood and the camaraderie amongst a lot of the senior guys. Talk to me about the decision to come back for your senior season, because listen, this is an Auburn fan channel. We weren't around as a fan channel then, but trust me, a lot of fans just knew we weren't going to see you back for your senior year. So talk to me about that decision to come back and try to go after that last hurrah with that senior group.
when I got ready to, make that decision, I had just had my son. So I took some time out the bowl game and, part of me wanted to leave. Just talking to other guys on the team, seeing what they wanted to do. It was a hard decision, man, to be honest, because, sitting there and, just I don't even know. It was a confusing few days, and I always told my mom and daddy though. Sat down with my mom and dad and talked. And I told him, once my mind's made, my mind's made. Like I'm giving 110%, whether I declare for the draft or whether I go back to school. And my ultimate decision was to go back to school, and it had a lot to do with my teammates that were coming back. We had finally got a chance to be able to be, the big dogs, the seniors, the leaders, and they would do a lot of special things that year that we'll never forget. So most of the guys on the team now, most of the guys from the defense, I see sometimes when I'm playing against them, when they come into the house to visit, or we swinging by to see them here and there places, and it's just that brotherhood that we built there won't ever be forgotten. We loved each other like brothers. We fought like brothers. We got mad at each other like brothers. But at the end of the day, like, when you be mad at me all you want, but you still know we family at the end of the day.
Right.
What do you remember? What your draft eval was like that year? Were they giving you first round grade, second round grade your junior year?
I think I had like a late first round grade.
Okay, so I mean that was a tough decision to decide to come back while you're getting a first round grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it ultimately paid off, though. I mean, you got drafted much higher than after you came back, for sure.
And the one thing, those draft grades, man, they don't mean nothing, to be honest, because it's you can get whatever draft grade you want to, but I mean, you see guys that's supposed to go here or there, but I mean, it's cool. And some company getting paid to do that stuff, but at the end of the day, like come night of, you won't know until you know.
Right.
Derrick, today's student athlete is making cake, and I can't help but think a Derrick Brown on NIL might have had a chance to earn quite a bit of money. Hypothetically speaking, if you had a chance to take advantage of NIL and you had a COVID year, so you got a 6 year of eligibility, do you think that would have played into your decision to come back to school?
Nah, I don't know about going back for a 6th year, but that's a long time in college football. I definitely look at NIL. I think it's for the best. Sometimes I see some situations where it's kind of like it's more so it's becoming rivalry in a way. And I mean, I get it. I get it 100%. It's like work. You're gonna go to the highest bidder. I mean, I'll never hate on nobody for it. But I'm excited for the guys that's getting these deals, man. It's special. I'm not seeing very much high tension from other guys who aren't getting as big of deals. I mean, I see these guys supporting with each other, one another, and Auburn, and I love seeing it, man. I love seeing the work being transferred into financial benefits.
So, Derrick, just coming back to your playing time at Auburn, we talked a little bit before we got on camera about some of the guys that are currently still on the roster or have just recently transitioned to the NFL that were on that 2019 team that we were talking about. How close are you? Do you still keep in touch with them? Do they, bend your ear for advice, any of that stuff? How much do you really keep in contact with some of the younger guys that were on that team for from your senior year?
I'll tell you this, once you're my teammate, you're always my brother. And I say that with open arms because even now, like I'm in the league. I got guys call me like, "Hey, DB, what you think about this? What you think about that?" And I'm gonna always be open to that. I mean, I always get to the phone, but I'll always call back. And whether it's Derrick Hall, Kobe, they were freshmen. They were freshmen when I was there, and just seeing them, grow up. Like Roger McCrary, I was talking to somebody the other day. I was like, man, like that's Lil Raj, man, to me. So seeing Roger grow up, and the Titans getting him the other day, that's a special moment. Like I told you, like I see him like my brother, like my little brother. So like that's special for me to be able to see that. Smoke, Brodarius, um, all those guys transitioning, and like D Hall, Kobe. I'm trying to think who else is playing.
Chandler Wooten was on that team, linebacker.
T. Woot was on that team.
I think Pritchett who was on that team with you guys.
Yeah, Lil Nehemiah. He wasn't Nehemiah now, I'll tell you that much back then. But I love it, man. I love getting to see those guys grow up and play and find their own like home in this thing because once you find your place and you find what you do well and what you do and what you do all right, you'll know to stay away from that side, because I'm doing this great on this side. And man, I just get excited, sitting there watching the game, as much as I can. I try to hope they play a little bit earlier, on Saturdays because it was nighttime game. That would be in the hotel, so I don't necessarily get a chance to see all of them.
Derrick, 7th round pick in the 2020. I'm sorry, 7th round, 7th overall pick in the 2020 draft. I demoted you pretty bad there. And you experience something that only a few guys every year in all of football get to experience in being a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. What advice do you have for kids making that jump from college to the NFL? And what were the biggest adjustments you had to make jumping from college to the NFL?
Man, I had to learn how to study football. I did what I did in college, and it was once you get to the league, you gotta realize all that stuff's behind you. Sadly to say, it's almost like when you get here, it's a brand new start. You go into a new coaching staff. You go into a whole new system, and you got to be able to think on the quick. Guys transfer, coming in. I mean, coaches in the NFL love guys that work hard. I mean, you see all the great players and stuff, and they're not that good because they sit at the house all day on the couch, man. They're good because they get out there and they do it while nobody's watching them. And all the guys, from Auburn that are getting the opportunity right now, and only Roger got drafted, but a lot of guys are still getting invites and getting signed, and a lot of my teammates, TD, Brodarius, former teammate Tyrone Truesdale. Those guys, man, I love it just being able to see it because, even when they text me and be like, hey man, like, I'm a little discouraged. I'm like, for what? A lot of the Hall of Fame is full of guys that nobody ever thought was going to be good, or they couldn't make the size measurables or any of that stuff. I think about Kevin Green when I think about that, because Kev was a walk-on at Auburn. Now he's in the Hall of Fame. In the little bit of time I got to spend with him, I understood why his mindset was like nobody else that I've ever been around. And all you got to ask for is opportunity, man. And once you get to the league, it's all about listening and making the best of that opportunity.
What's film study like at the next level? I mean, former Auburn lineman King Dunlap, him and I are pretty good friends. We'd hang out in San Diego. He'd walk around with an iPad that just had like plays and things loaded on him, so he was always ready to look at film. What's film study like?
The same way he told you, the iPad, man. Walk around with the iPad because at the end of the night, like my routine is I put my kids to sleep, and I go right back to it. I'm sitting down with my notebooks. Just trying to, get the advantage on somebody. To be honest, man, you watch so much, you take so much time, and for so long in college, it was all about like, hey, I know what's coming because I practice it so much. But in the league, it's a little bit different because as the season goes on, the practice is toned down, and you see it, visually you see it, but like it also comes from, mentally being able to understand it, and only with film that comes through time.
All right. So you said you do get an opportunity when it's not a late game to keep up with the team. Um, what are your thoughts on how the defense looks? Right? Have you had an opportunity? Like, did you see A Day, or what do you think about this Auburn defense coming into this next season? Do you have any thoughts on them?
Yeah, I did. I actually watch A Day on my iPad, so I had to get it in. I had to watch it. I'm very excited, for the future of the program under Coach Harsin. Um, they do a lot of things different than how we did it when we were there, but that all comes along with coaching staff. It seems like you got a team that's branded around the coach right now, and through all the things that happened in the last few months, you got guys sticking up for them. So I mean, you got you got a culture down there of guys that care about their coach. So I mean, I kind of see it because when I talk to people and I hear different things and this and that. I hear the kids love them. So I mean,
Mm,
it's one of those things of once you get your players to believe that you care about them, then you'll see success. And
mhm,
that's when I talk about the 2019. Not just the defense, like the team.
mm.
Um, we cared about our coach's job. You know what I'm saying? It was important for us to go out and play good. Because like I said, like that was our family.
Mm. Did they call you the president? Were you the president in college? Was that your nickname, or Baby Barack?
Yeah, that's something Deshaun Davis gave me when I was in I was younger. That was before Deshaun was still with us. Sophomore or junior, one of the two.
Mm. And has Coach Harson reached out to you to maybe come back and talk to the team or just be around the program?
Yeah, I've actually, I've been around a few times. I haven't got a chance to get around much this year. It's been a whole whirlwind of a year for
Mm.
me, and I haven't got a chance to get down there lately. But I spent some time down there last year. Hopefully with the break after camp, I'll get a chance to sneak down there and see a game.
Derrick, I want to talk to you a little bit about what your routine is like now in the NFL. You've gone from being a college athlete to now being a professional at your craft at the next level. So, can you describe the difference in workouts and routines? It feels like a lot of stuff was structured for you in college. Is it more stuff on your own? Like, what kind of support systems does the team give you guys to get your stuff done?
Yeah, I mean, I think about it like it's college, man. I mean, you just don't have class, you have work. So I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, you get in there at 6, and the thing about college and in NFL, you go to class, you kind of get a break, see different scenery. But in the NFL, like that's work. So you get in at 6, and you probably won't go home until 4 or 5. Um, it's all about watching film and taking care of your body. That put the things in place for you to be able to do it. It's about if you want to do it or not. I
Mhm.
just know from when I was a rookie, I was fresh legs. I was young. I see those older guys in the locker room in the cold tub till like 5 or 6 o'clock at night. I'm like, nah, ain't no way. And then like last year, like week 8, I was like, nah, I need to get in there with y'all.
All right. So, you talk about your brothers. I know you and one guy in particular had a very unique relationship. Coming back both as seniors, both had opportunities to leave junior year, and that's Marlon Davidson. Now you guys are on rival teams in the same division, right? He's
hmm
a Falcon. You're a Panther. NFC
hmm
South. How is it like when you guys get an opportunity to play one another? What's the trash talk like? How are you and Marlon Davidson jawing at each other when it's coming to those 2 games a year?
Man, it's fun. Just being able to sit there and just, we talk junk a little bit, but it's all love after the game. Whether we're here, you look up, see my family up in the box, and whether I'm in Atlanta and his family the same. It's just special to be able to do it, with people that you went through the war with, you went through the fight with, and to see the reward on the other side, man, it's a special feeling.
Yeah.
Mm. Tell me a little bit about the toughest guy you've gone up against, Derrick, so far in your professional career. Like, is there any person that you were like, man, that was a tough assignment?
I can think of a few. I give credit to really everybody we play against because in the league, man, it's no weak link. Like it's the best athletes in the world. So every time you go to go against somebody, it's like it's you better bring your A game because they're gonna embarrass you. To be honest, I mean, especially the older guys who know all the old tricks, man. It's it's second nature to them at this point because they got the upper hand. They've been in here longer. They probably those guys that's got those books on you and just I'm only now feel like I'm starting to get to the point where I'm comfortable in the system and I'm not having the stress and such things like that because over time it took me that to build that over time and it's just become one of those things now where I just want to line up and play ball.
Is there a lot of trash talk down there in the line?
I mean, it can be sometimes. I can't think of any particular time where it's just gotten crazy, but sometimes here and there you find a few.
Well, Derrick, you got to play with one of the greatest Auburn Tigers of all time this year, Cam Newton. He came home to Carolina for a little bit. What's it like being on a team with a guy with as big a personality and persona as Cam?
I would say this, about him. I feel like I think the world thinks one way of him, but behind closed doors, he's a completely humble dude. I think people think a certain way about him because he is a superstar. I mean, if we're being honest, I mean, former league MVP, played in the Super Bowl. I mean, those things are special. He's done things a lot of people won't ever get to achieve. And I think even when he got there, man, it was it was cool just to be around him because the things that he brought to the table and the attitude that he came to work with every day.
Okay, so can you give me just your favorite memory from your playing days at Auburn? Is there like a game, a moment in particular where you were like, man, this is one of the ones that I'm gonna remember forever?
I got two actually.
Okay.
I remember when we played UGA 2017, and they were ranked the #1 team in the country. I remember just sitting in the hotel all day and like hearing people on college game day talking about they're gonna beat the brakes off of us. And we ended up beating them 41-17 that night. We ended up losing in the SEC championship. So, that sucked. But, that night was a special night. And then I think 2019 when we beat Alabama, that was my last ever game in Jordan Hare. And, that was one hell of a way to go out. And, that's one that we talked about all week. I think that was the same week, I was in the hotel and Coach Malzahn asked me to, address the team. We were doing the senior leadership address the team before every game. And I got down to the last week and I was like, cool, he gonna skip me. I just go out here and play, I ain't gotta worry about this. And right before I gotta come downstairs, Coach Malzahn said, I want you to talk to the team. And I just felt like, I just spoke with my heart and from that moment on, I think everybody felt what I was feeling. And we went out there and did our thing and was able to get that last victory because that was special, man. That was senior night. I had my son, my family, my mom, my wife, everybody out on the field. It was a special time for me, and now I'm just like, geez, man, it's crazy to look back on it.
Yeah,
I was talking to Daniel Thomas the other day. I was like, man, we old now. We old. They don't forget about us. We old.
And, so you beat Alabama twice.
Yeah.
Because you got the dub in 2017 and in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Going into the 2019 game, was that an experience that you drew on that you talked to the team about? Like, because you beat two #1 teams back to back that year, and Georgia and Alabama to close the regular season. In 2019, you go in, nobody's expecting much of Auburn. You got a freshman quarterback, but you got a great defense. And was it a thing where you were just drawing on that experience from 2017 and telling the guys, like, listen, we could beat these guys?
I don't even think it was necessarily having any doubt that we could win the game. It was when we could go out there, we knew it was a physical, hard battle. They had just lost Tua a few weeks before, but as you can see, Matt was a first round pick, so they lost no deficiency in quarterback play at the time. So it was I just talking to the team, man, at that point in the season, that's what the guess game 12. Bo, you're not a freshman no more. You know what I'm saying? You know how to command the offense. You know what to do. And defense, we're gonna do what we gotta do. And that's how we looked at it. You know, the offensive line felt the same way. You know, I mean, once your big dogs up front feel the same, and everybody's passion and heart is into it like that, well, you're not finna go out here and get embarrassed, and you know what's on the line. I mean, that's a special feeling.
Well, Derrick, I want to close the interview just thanking you for taking some time to sit and talk with us about your time at Auburn and, what's going on with you in the NFL. We're wishing you big things this upcoming 2022 season. Go out there and knock them dead, brother.
Appreciate y'all for having me, man. I appreciate that.
Well, that's it for another great edition of Building Rapport with our guy, Derrick Brown. Look, if you want more content like this, please hit like and subscribe. We are the War Rapport on most social media platforms, TW Rapport on TikTok. Guys, we're signing off, and as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.